So in this video, we'll take a look at the standard SWOT analysis, the one you're familiar with, right? You learned it in Business Class 101. You've probably done it a couple times in your job already. It never gets looked at. It's really boring, one-dimensional, 4 quadrants. And we're going to take a look at those limitations and think about this new story format approach that's much more engaging, opens you up to better, richer dialogue, and improved business results. So stay tuned. I think it's going to be a completely new approach for you that you'll be able to start using right away. Hey, it's Adam with Strategy Kiln, where we demystify and simplify business challenges. As always, I would invite you to check out strategykiln.com. If you like the slides you see here today, they're all free on our site. You can also check out a bunch of other cool frameworks that we've got there for you as well. So definitely check it out. Okay, so we joked around about it already. The standard SWOT template is just lame. We could make fun of it all day long, but the truth is it's incredibly one-dimensional. It makes you look like an amateur. You're usually just kind of checking a box with the approach. So what we want to do here is give you something that people pay attention to instead of something that just gets tossed into the trash bin and becomes long forgotten. So why does the SWOT have a bad rap? Well, there's a litany of reasons. We've got them listed here on this slide. So what you end up with that standard 4-quadrant approach is something that nobody can really read, right? You probably did it in a silo, didn't meet with enough cross-functional partners. That's a common mistake here. And it almost always is internally focused and ingratiating. So it becomes this parade and this like sycophantic chorus, if you will, where you just talk about how strong you are, how great you are, how you're ready to take advantage of these opportunities, pave the way forward. And oftentimes you end up with a Me Too approach. And that's exactly what we want to avoid here. Okay, so how do we overcome the standard limitations with SWOT? Well, instead of looking at things from an internal standpoint where we just look at strengths and weaknesses, often touting how great we are, we're going to focus on threats and opportunities, focusing first on the external environment. We're going to work with our cross-functionals to make sure we have multiple different viewpoints and perspectives so that we're grabbing all the different potential threats, opportunities, weaknesses, and realistic strengths out there. And we're going to put it into a compelling story format that is going to really encourage dialogue and allow you to get deeper and even use data and visuals to tell a better story. Okay, so it's pop quiz time, and this quiz is of course a trick question. So 5% growth versus last year, is that a strength? You probably answer yes. 9 out of 10 people would say, yes, you grew 5%. That's a strength. The answer is no. We don't have the context to answer that. If your competition grew 20%, 10%, or even if they only grew 1 percentage point more than you at 6%, then 5% growth for your business is not a strength. So keep in mind, this isn't about saying, hey, this is how good we are, reminding ourselves of how good we are. The SWOT is not a celebration. It's about being brutally honest and having relativistic comparisons, like versus those competitive threats out there and versus the market landscape. Are you strong relative to what else is happening out there? Do you have the strength to be able to capitalize on opportunities? So be very truthful to yourself and make sure that others are willing to hear that truth as well. If you have serious news, bad news, something that you know is going to come off a little bit insensitive, then make sure you prime your audience or find out how to tell that story in the proper way. But this is a mission critical takeaway. Okay, so let's ground ourselves in a SWOT analysis definition from Investopedia. So taking a look here, SWOT analysis is a strategic planning technique that provides assessment tools, okay? Provides fresh perspectives, fact-based analysis, new ideas. And it also talks here about diverse groups or voices within an organization that are free to provide realistic data. Also, this box on the side, talking about fresh perspective and brutal facts. Yes, these are always the intention, but SWOTs can be weak in this area. So be mindful of that and be ready to overcome those challenges as they come across. Now, I really like this definition here, although it's a wee bit vague, but let's keep all of these things in mind as we move forward. Okay, so how does a SWOT fit within a situation assessment? Well, in the situation analysis, you ask the question, what's happening? And you're going to be using a number of different tools, such as a PESTLE analysis, which is the political, economic, societal, environmental, technological factors out there, Porter's 5 forces, of course, the 5C framework, as well as the consumer journey, lots of other things, right? So what you're gonna do is have an initial SWOT analysis, which is what we're talking about today, which is more about getting ideas down and kind of brainstorming as a team. And then what you do is you take these, the initial SWOT analysis, and then in part 2 of Occam, when you compress things down, that's where we're gonna take a look at a different tool called the SWOT Fusion Matrix, or the TOWS, and that's going to show you how to take the SWOT to the next level with actionable recommendations, but that's not for this video. So as we get rolling here, here's the standard SWOT layout. But what we've got here is, a top line view, and I tried to make it pretty for you as well, but you can see the standard strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats SWOT layout with the internal and the external focuses there. So, I'm not going to read all of this off because I want you to go to strategykiln.com to download this, because I want you to familiarize yourself with all of the nuance here. It's really critical that you watch the video and take a look at the slides for the added detail. So looking at this next side, SWOT analysis, Amazon entry into online grocery. You can see what I did here is I flipped it so that the external factors are first, so opportunities and threats, versus internal factors on the right side now with strengths and weaknesses. So keep in mind also as you go through this, I'm doing Amazon's entry into grocery. You can do a SWOT analysis at the overall business level, so it could be Amazon in general, it could be a specific brand or product or a marketing campaign. In this case, we're talking about entering online grocery. In this box here also, take a look, we're noting a key factor. Amazon's supply chain is normally what they would laud as a key strength, right? We know they've got warehouses everywhere, 2-day shipping. It's an absolute competitive advantage. However, Amazon entering the grocery business, their supply chain actually becomes a weakness because they don't have the brick and mortar foundational store footprint of Walmart or the grocery stores. So what we do now is we shift that strength into a weakness, and we highlight that because it's a key reason why it's going to be difficult for Amazon to win. Okay, so here we are. Without further ado, let's take a look at the story format slide. So here we had that sad standard SWOT from Business Class 101, right? Really boring. Now what we have is this story format slide. And as you can see here, just immediately, it's refreshing to have this opened up space, and you can do so much more. Okay, so what's this new version all about? So instead of one slide, I want you to show leadership that you're thinking deeply by dedicating a slide to each of the areas of the SWOT that are important. So it might seem like a lot of work, but you could have anywhere from, say, 4 slides, one for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, to 10 or 20 slides potentially if you're trying to get really deep in certain areas. So for this example, we looked at the competitive threat from Walmart with their in-home grocery delivery, right? And you can see in that top corner there, we've got it labeled as threat. And immediately you've got this data-driven story going with growth projections on the side. And you know that's something that leadership's really interested about. On the left, you've got a bit of a visual which helps things come to life, right? Some added detail in there talking about some of the details for Walmart's foray into online grocery, so you can get grounded in what they're doing. Think about how you could potentially match or exceed it, what the issues and challenges might be there. And then you've even got enough space here now down at the bottom to be able to start drawing initial implications to say like, hey, this is what we're seeing. And based on like this competitive threat, we're thinking that these are some starting points and ways we could potentially move forward. Okay, so for enduring understanding, your SWOT doesn't have to be amateur. Tailor your approach to your business, hone in on those external factors, and consider the story format for your SWOT. I think you're going to drive much better dialogue with this, as well as strategic decisions. Okay, so this is the end of the video. We are done. If you did get value from this, if you think you're going to be able to use this information, please subscribe and like this video. Would really appreciate it.